Okay, good evening. Welcome to the March 20th, 2012 PCA Board of Directors meeting. Will the secretary call the roll, please?
Thomas,
Here.
Adams,
Here.
Pearson,
Here.
Guy, Johnson,
Here.
Davis, Fishman,
You and Neil will be
Williamson.
here.
Here.
Yeah, Neil's gonna be late.
Williamson's here.
Thank
You guys
you,
kinda-
and Bertucci.
Bertucci's
Yeah,
here.
here.
Thank you.
Stop interrupting.
Too much fresh air for you. Okay. We have a quorum. Is there anyone here for public comment tonight?
How'd you guess?
Well, please state your name and face the camera.
If you could stand over by Marcel, then you get yourself on the cameras. So you,
It's okay. You really want me to?
Wheel around chair.
I'd rather sit.
okay.
Put-
Good evening. My name's Joe Manthey. I'm a Petaluma resident. And before I start, I want to offer my condolences to John. Your mother was a pillar in the community. And lived a long, good life. Back in October of 2010, the Petaluma Healthcare District put on an event called Why Boys Fail. Ray was actually a sponsor. This gentleman actually did the audio, video stuff. And small town, man. And the event sold out, 250 people. It's my biggest gig ever. And we got it videotaped. I got the healthcare district to be a member of PCA so we could get it on the air. And got it all done up, produced. And it started to air, and I noticed that most of the slots were the graveyard shift. And then it did run one cycle of prime time, and then went back to the graveyard shift. So I called up John, and I said, well, you know, it's Why Boys Fail in the schools, and it hasn't ran on channel 27 yet. It's only ran on 26. So how about if it runs for a cycle on 27 on prime time? So, yeah, I think we can do that. And then the guy who does your scheduling was in the office, and while I was on the phone with John, John instructed the guy, run Why Boys Fail on 27 prime time for a cycle. Great. And then it never did. So I'm here tonight to request that it run for one cycle on channel 27.
If I might, is there any reason why that we know of that it didn't before I say something?
I don't. I just know that when we first got it, we ran it in a good time slot. And Joe's the time the graveyard shifts is when we run something 6 months out or a year out. And 2010 was a while ago. So, but we used to have a request line, and we take requests. I see no reason why this can't be met. Just a footnote, you don't need to be a member to submit programming. So
You guys have me fooled.
the healthcare district,
Well, we don't mind them being.
That's the only way we get members, actually.
Yeah, we'll take the membership.
John, you're not supposed to.
Well, every time John sees me, he's going, Joe, are you a member?
Well, it's time you joined, yeah.
you need to be a member to use our equipment.
Right.
That's the thing. You can also be a member if you don't want to use our equipment, just lower membership, just to be a member. But we accept DVDs from anybody who walks in with them.
I did not know that.
And I think this thing was very well received. I would like to see it run on prime time. It's not like we're doing a ton of education material from the educational sources, so one of two things, and I don't know what procedure is, either move to do it from us, or I will personally request as to why and follow up. That's all I can offer. If it's something that the board can approve, that's up to you guys. And if it is, I'll make a motion.
Well, it is an operations issue, and operations are strictly John's call.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
But should.
that's what I thought. That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
make a motion.
I don't think we're
I
hearing
don't
any
see it,
hesitation from
But thank you
John.
for coming in and
to make the
and
push for
making
that.
making us aware of
You
that.
can take them out
Yeah.
back after.
Super.
Yeah.
And
Great.
Do another one.
I got a grant from AT&T to do a follow-up Raising Good Sons lecture series.
Fantastic.
And I'm gonna hire Zach to do the videotaping.
Okay.
Cool.
Like,
Spectacular.
I like to say something about his maturing, but I'm on camera, so I love it.
Thank you for
Depends on what
coming
you
in.
say.
Joe, everybody knows you. Come on, we're okay.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Okay, seeing nobody else here for public comment, we'll close that and move on to Board of Directors' comments and announcements. Are there any?
I'd like to make an announcement, and if the board will permit, I'd like to defer it to the end of new business. Good, no comments, thank you.
What is this?
I missed that.
He's hoping
Wanted
to
to make
split
an
the
announcement
agenda
at
and
the
have
end
a
of
board
business.
comment at the end of new business, or beginning of new business.
No, the end.
You can have a comment after each and every item, during, before, and after.
I usually
today,
do,
so-
but this is a special one.
Okay,
Talk about
Alright.
that stuff.
is there anyone else? Seeing none, the only one that I had was, oh, I'm in the wrong month. Done. I just wanted to, reiterate my note that I sent to everyone that at next Wednesday, the 28th of March at 5:30 PM, the Aquas Community Nonprofit Mixer is going on.
Yes, I spoke with Diane. They'd like a little blurb on PCA, commission
Right.
statement and such, and know who's coming. And I told them Cindy and I were coming.
Right. It would be nice if any of you are available to attend that mixer. It's at La Dolce Vita,
Yeah,
correct?
a little wine.
5:30
Right
at La
downtown?
Dolce, yes.
Yeah, I
Theater.
think I said I could make it for part
Yeah,
of
you
the
said,
vote.
yeah, you had a meeting that night, but that you could come by, 5:30 to 7:30. Okay, and that's pretty much all I have.
So do I have confirmations of who's coming, or I can prepare that?
Yeah, three.
So Cindy, myself, Tim, anybody else who are coming?
I will attempt to come. That's what Dolce Vita?
Right, 5:30 to 7:30. Okay, that's it. Unless anyone else has anything else, then we're gonna move to the agenda approval. Has everyone looked at the agenda? Any comments, modifications, changes? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there anyone who does not support this? Okay. Minutes of the February 21st meeting were also sent to you at the same time the agenda went out. Was there any corrections to these minutes? Can we get a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
I'll have to
Abstentions?
abstain,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, Eric's abstaining.
In as much
Um,
as I was not here,
We missed
not out of protest.
you. You're doing exciting stuff. Okay, the treasurer's report, please, Matt?
Well, everything is moving along well, I guess. We did, I don't know if you want to bring in items from the committee report here, but a couple big notes as we've started working on developing our 2012-13 budget, which will soon come to the board. And we've also had a couple interesting things in the news lately, which may affect us in the long term. There was a news posting that AT&T is stopping its rollout of UVerse, and even is not expanding places that they've already actually have installed their base in. So there are a lot of sections of town that may have been upgraded to UVerse, but they haven't turned it on. They seem to indicate that they don't plan on doing that. Second thing that, so we might see some limited growth in the UVerse DIVCA checks. The second thing is, it was sort of interesting, is that Sonic.net, which is one of the local ISPs, has applied with the state of California for a video DIVCA permit. So they may choose to start their own cable television type service, which may mean another source of income. We'll see what type of packages they have. But knowing Sonic, they tend to do things at a lower cost, and as the cost for services goes down, obviously our percentage of income goes down with that too.
Excuse me, Matt, is that that Sonic item that they have applied for a state video franchise?
Yes, they have.
Mhm.
So we've got no notice that there's the intention to do business in our area though?
Well, what I would assume is that's where they're laying down fiber.
So it's gonna be Sebastopol TV?
At Sebastopol, and they're also laid down fiber, or permit to lay down fiber for the entire city of San Francisco. With Stencer. They're also doing it for Mountain View and Stanford, where Google's laid out all their services. So it doesn't mean that we may be a couple years down the road. But I don't know, maybe they could also follow the AT&T method and deliver it via DSL.
I thought
Video
that's what
IP.
they were.
Well, you still do the same thing whether you're doing it with fiber.
No, I understand that, but I mean, I
Yeah.
thought their intention was, what I had heard was more toward, on the AT&T thing, it's not as critical as it sounds. There's an issue with one of the distance things they're doing, and I don't even understand it. But they're pulling it in areas where they're not growing that much anyway, and it should be back within 6 months.
Pulling it or pulling back?
Pulling
Just-
back.
Just slowing down?
Yeah,
Because they have deadlines. They have penetration.
I can tell you what a
stats and deadlines.
deadline at AT&T is in your
Yeah.
lifetime somewhere, so I wouldn't pay attention to
I'm
deadlines.
familiar with AT&T's version of deadlines.
Be nice now, I'm just telling you the truth.
That is the nice version.
No, they've never been fanatic about deadlines. They're more fanatic about it being right. We didn't grow fast enough to be high on the list, that's all.
So there's just a few changes in the market, and in instance, it's where DIVCA checks come from. You know, the general observation is that the DIVCA seems to be reducing a couple $100 every quarter. So, and beyond that, I don't think I have any other new news.
I have a question about DIVCA, because when they partnered with Verizon and they're selling package deals, obviously you can separate the costs of the phone versus the cost of the cable, but they are a packaged bill. We just get the divided amount and somebody divides it,
Video.
video period,
Just
it
the
has to
video.
be, okay.
Okay, is that it, Matt? Is that it?
I think so. Till we
Okay.
get to the committee reports.
Thank you.
Thank
Does,
you.
does anyone have questions for Matt?
I wonder if Sonic, would they do the public television like we were planning to do?
All they've done is planned out to, they've applied for a permit from the state. What their business plans are, they don't know.
That's fine.
I think they're just running streaming video, if they do anything.
But they have to have a permit before they can offer the service, and what their timelines and business plans are.
And when they offer the service, they have to notice the municipality in the area that they're offering it in, and then they have local ordinances to deal with channels and stuff like that.
They've been established a long time
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
in the early 90s. It was Sonic.
Sonic TV.
Do they have any,
That's cool.
anything in Petaluma? Have they laid any fiber or any infrastructure in Petaluma?
Well, just commercial, data infrastructure.
Okay.
But no, the infrastructure, as far as I'm aware of, is just Sebastopol and near their offices in Santa Rosa, and they said the permits they pulled for
San Francisco.
San Francisco, and then they operate all of the Google fiber to the home and for all the Stanford housing. So all the Google projects so far that with fiber to the home Google has contracted Sonic to manage and operate it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hi, Neil.
Hey guys, so I'm late.
Yeah.
You missed director's comments. Did you have anything that you wanted to toss in? No?
No.
Okay. Okay, thanks for being here. Okay, next on the agenda is the executive director's report. John, thank you, Matt.
Okay, we have a staff member who's moving on. Stephanie Glenn has accepted another job, full-time, better pay. It's a very clean and happy departure. I mean, I'm not happy, I thought she was great. She is great. But she's brought a lot to the station, and I feel she's given everybody a positive jolt. So we're all gonna live up to her style. And I have the proud moment to introduce Van, who's is being promoted. Van outgrew Access Assistant months ago, but we didn't have another room for him. Now we do, and he's gonna be working a lot with Zach. The position was almost semi-independent, but now it's gonna be more like an assistant station manager. And we're all very happy.
Yeah,
Hey, well,
congratulations, Van.
Congratulations.
Just so our viewers know, Van is the man behind the camera tonight.
Turn your head in
Turn
front of the
around.
camera.
You can wave in front of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, and just a footnote on that, this is one of our new cameras. No tape, no recording on the
Cool.
chip.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a chip recorder.
Yeah,
Doesn't sound right.
it's a disturber too.
Only you would say.
Okay, I'm gonna be taking the next few days off this week. I had hoped to get out of town, that fell through. I just need to,
All you have to do
Get
is
out
get
of
in
my
your
sight.
car and go once.
what?
All you do is get in your car and go, it's all.
I wanted an airplane in.
Oh, okay.
In
That's
the
different.
equation, but that'll come. So I'll be out of the office for the next 3 days. The initiative for an access network, which could be kind of a group of access stations that could try to raise money, the business sponsorship on a higher level, that isn't really getting traction. I tried to float it by a Busky group, no real response, no nibble, and there are some very tricky fiduciary elements to it. So we'll see. I'll keep trying to get a response from Busky, and if that gives me what I need to get to the next step, I'll bring it back. Otherwise, I think we're gonna move on. I'd actually put the audit finance review in here before I've worked through some budgetary problems. You know, it's still a big bite to see that big number in our budget. It's such a huge number in relation to everything else. So, you know, I still think, I know the board decided we're not gonna go there yet, or now, we're not gonna go there. But it might still be something we wanna review, because if we could do an audit every 5 years with the renewal of the contract, we could probably get by with financial reviews in between, save money. But there's a lot of work to figure out how it's gonna fit, and we have to take it to the city. It's time to start the activities plan. I've got a pretty good model that I've been doing them now for 4 years, so I'll be putting that into action. The activities plan builds on the budget, so that's where we'll take the next level of work, get the budget nailed down. Which is on the agenda, and it's gonna come up in the committee reports, so we'll tackle that when it comes up. Now, let's see, oh no, there's something else, but I can factor it into one of the items. Any questions?
Collecting mystery tonight, we are.
Yes.
No questions?
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
Yes, thank you, and
Please pass our
There's
best
one.
on to Stephanie,
Yeah,
and
well,
wish good luck in your new position.
You can see her on TV next week.
Miss Energy. Oh, that's too bad.
Miss Energy.
Yeah, that's it.
And congratulations on feeling so comfortable with the activities plan. I remember the day when we were just panicking as to whether we were gonna get it in on time, so good job.
Thank you. Yeah. It comes with, it accumulates,
Yeah.
builds, you can rest on your laurels a little. The budget, if we could approve the budget next month, that's a breakthrough. Because usually we, in extremis, approve it in May, and I get it in at the end of May, once, twice in June. So if we can have it in May 1st, that'd be,
You've done a really good job the last 3 years putting it all together. Thank you. Okay, we have no items on the consent calendar, and for reports of committees, the executive committee met prior to this meeting. There were 3 items. There was no action. Does anybody want to provide any feedback on that? No?
I don't believe so. Do you want to just name the items? for
The 3
record?
items we had was on the restructuring of the staff. John presented a plan, and it's an operations issue that he has complete handle on, so no action there. We discussed the renewal of the executive director contract, and we're on track to complete that, hopefully with the next board meeting in April. And the 3rd item was a discussion of a staff party, an annual staff party, and we're gonna move forward with a subcommittee to make plans for that
in July.
in July. Any other committee reports?
Yes.
The finance committee met.
Yes, the finance committee met.
Wow.
No,
Well, we didn't met, we had a working meeting.
And
It
planning.
tried to meet.
Well, yes, excuse me. And I didn't, on that note, I didn't turn my cell phone off.
Oh,
Penalty box.
Yeah. What? We met last Thursday to start discussing, working over the budget for next year. So we intend probably to have another working meeting just to discuss the final budget that we would present at the next board meeting as a proposal to the board, and either elicit a approval or input to take back to try and get approved before the May, or get approved in May.
We have a copy.
Okay. And we
Well,
also-
actually, there's been a little leapfrogging there too. I put it on the agenda tonight so that the whole board would have it, so that the board can now address their questions to the finance committee.
Right.
And then when we meet, we'll have your input to work with, so that it'll be that much closer to being approvable.
Okay, we can talk about that under new business.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that on the one that I have, version I have.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I don't believe there were any other committee meetings. Am I mistaken? Okay.
Could I just pose a question though?
Sure.
The members advisory committee, it hasn't met or functioned, is.
2 years.
In 2 years.
That's quite
I
a
think
lot.
it's a very useful committee. We might want to make it a priority to try to beef it up, get it active.
It's really going to require member participation, in the development of that committee. So it would really help to have some input from staff, or to have staff help with recruitment of that person through classes or, you know.
Okay, yeah.
What does the committee do?
It's an interface between the members and the board. It's where the members who aren't on the board but want to contribute in the direction of the station can can meet, develop a proposal and bring it to committee. It's also a pool of volunteers that we could call for election needs. At one point, they were very instrumental in putting on the annual members meeting. And it was also a way of taking, in the days when we had 20 public comments, if those 20 people could meet and bring in as one comment, it's much closer to getting into action rather than just a barrage. So it's a volunteer pool and an interface for member participation in the direction of the station.
And generally, at least one board member sits on the committee, and it's the liaison between that group and the board, so. We've all been so busy with some of the other stuff that.
Well, I can see clearly now, just with what you said, Cindy, that it could, we could factor it into the old business item too, make it one of our goals, and set out to see if we can build some member supports to activate it by the next annual meeting.
Okay,
And if we don't, then we strike it from our list.
okay, hold that thought then.
But
Is it a standing committee?
It is not
Bylaws.
it is not a standing committee.
Do you have
Bylaws.
any idea,
No.
you know, first of all, I mean, how many members are there altogether? Is it 100 or something like
about
that?
120, 130.
And do you have any idea how many of them participate in any way at all during the year?
I would say 24 a month are coming in the door. and that's
you-
not always the same
Using
stuff.
cameras and those perks that you
Yeah.
get as a board member, but not really talking about the business of the organization.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready for old business?
Yep,
Item 1, discussion and a possible action on butter and eggs parade project.
not a lot has happened since I reported the last meeting. There are some things we'll discuss, but not a lot. Just for everybody's edification, it's 39 days away now. We had a really good running start, and I think we're okay. Just to review a little bit, it's a black limo with flags on the corners, a life raft on the back. It has a sunroof for when it stops, and depending on what kind of raucous activity is going on in the limo, they can stand up and show it. The intent is to have a lot of walkers. First of all, the winners in the Luminarian, which still gets a red line every time I spell it that way, John. But anyway, the Luminarians to carry their trophies. I don't know where that was. Last I heard, it was 1.5 people volunteering, 1 definite, Mayor Glass, and 1/2 maybe. I think we need to still work on that now that Eric's back involved. Maybe call some of the runner-ups and say, hey, guys, you know, this is what we've done for you. We're going to continue to do it. How about you help us with our endeavor? But that's up to you guys. The other walkers, and I'll make a plea to the members, any members that are watching, please contact us. It'll be a lot of fun to walk along with this thing. It's a stretch limo. It'll be in the middle of the parade, so we won't be done in 19 minutes. And I think it really could be just a real good promotion for PCA. We're also going to be handing out something, and this is where I've sort of been out of the loop and lost complete control. I don't know exactly, but we're handing out something that will have prizes, etc. So I think if you members can come and join, it'll just be a more fun party to promote PCA. We're trying to build a long-term mailing list relationship and get out into the public. And these kind of parades are not the best for that because the majority of people might not be potential, but they certainly, out of 25,000 people, there's a few hundred who'd be darn good members. So, I mean, that's the goal, and I'll ask anybody else on the committee to speak to where that is, because I don't know. But we're in really good shape. The limo driver will meet us there in time to do any little decoration. It's exciting. Everybody, the couple of people in the Downtown Association that I mentioned this to, thought it was really cool. I didn't go into all the details. I just said we were going to have a stretch limo, it's a party, and we're promoting PCA. And the reaction was, I think, very good. And even our little speeches that we wrote got good reply, good reception. So, you know, we're in good shape. And this was El's idea all along, Marcel's idea. Why do you use the other name? I never know what to call you. Anyway, this was Marcel's idea, and it was a great idea until you had to run with it. But anyway, it really was a great idea, and let's make it happen, members and everybody else. So, do either of you two have any comments on where we are on the handout?
Well, there's been a couple of drafts,
Oh, it's good.
so
It's now. So it's a work in progress at this
Yeah, well,
point.
actually, it's been Kate and Jason and Cindy working.
Okay.
Pretty much
I
absolutely.
won't look at you.
Jason did have a question that if we don't get strong luminarian participation as walkers, can we rewrite the text to push the drawing or whatever?
There's no reason why we can't. Rewriting the whole thing or just kind
Just
of,
taking out the one phrase about the luminarian and using those 10 words to push something else.
so the assumption is Glass won't even have a trophy or nobody will, is that?
Well,
the
Glass
plan?
was the half because he didn't produce the show.
Oh, I thought-
He was just in the show.
I thought he was the one who was coming for sure.
He is coming for sure, but
Okay.
he's not a winner.
Oh, I see.
That's all, but he is coming for sure. And the other winner was a producer of, can't think of the show, but
Well, my feeling is because there's a limo there and this is an award after the fact, I don't know if it'd be a bad idea if there was a trophy present. But if you think one of them or two of them will just look silly, then
no.
your
I think-
guy's choice.
I think one trophy on each side of the limo makes sense of the limo.
There you go.
So we need some trophies out there, and I'm sure we can get them. I did put an email out a month ago, and I think it was just too soon. I didn't get any response. So I'm gonna hit that first week of April. I'm gonna go back on and hit that and see if we can drum it up.
I can help.
And
Give them a call.
you're right, it's gonna be fun. That's the intention, and I think we can get some people out there. We have recontacted our two announcers. We had two professional announcers working for PCA last year, and they're gonna do it again this year. So we've got the coverage of the parade going. And Zach was out today scouting for locations where to put our camera. Neil has one of the flag mounts and you have the other. Did we pass the test with
Yeah.
your lecture? So.
I
And Neil is,
have ordered the flags and we actually ordered 14 of them. So there'll be extra.
What is your idea? You're the one who had the sailboat coming out of the roof. I want to hear
You
this.
suggested maybe a baker's dozen, so it didn't cost that much extra, you know. Whatever you can reimburse me for, I'll take, and whatever you can't, I'll.
okay.
I'll
Well, where are we
take care of.
putting?
No. The idea was that all the money goes into making the artwork. Once you get the artwork
Oh.
done, you pull out copies. And why not make more copies and have them so we can,
Oh, no.
hang them around.
I thought you meant you were putting.
We have a white canopy now for an outdoor event, we can hang the banners around. It was just an idea, once all that work together,
Yeah,
so.
could be used another time.
Yeah. I think we could make top hats, so.
You
well,
know,
not the
Well,
top
we
hats.
could wear the three of us up front. Jason won't wear a hat because it's political time.
the
but-
two flag mounts, I think were $6 each.
Yeah.
The life preserve was $50, but
I walked in and the lady said, "Is that flag what you're gonna put there?" It was whatever that was on the thing, I don't know.
it's a diver down.
Oh.
Two flags were gonna be $40. I got $100 for 14 flags, so. yeah.
But this is a relative of yours, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't go that way?
No, he'd have charged $300.
And he rode his bike off into the wilderness.
That's right. No, these are just kind of vinyl signs from Barber Sign Company and,
Well, it's gonna be fun, everybody, and I mean, we're gonna make it fun. The three of us up front, and by the way, if it is a heavy windy day, is that banner gonna lose control? with the
No,
three of
actually,
us?
I was working on the banner this weekend, I figured out how to put a strip at the bottom.
Yeah, that was,
It'll be rigid
that
at the
was what I
bottom
was
and
gonna
it'll be
say.
nice on the top. It's only gonna be one-sided though, because the other didn't fit. And I've gone through 3 cans of paint to try and cover up the stuff, and I can't get the right white, so I'm almost.
I don't think it matters that it's only on the front that much.
No, that's not a problem.
Because everybody will see it once at least. Okay, so that's where we are, everybody, unless you have more.
Well, I'll be picking up the t-shirts next week.
So are we changing out the t-shirt I already have? Being as I'm fatter now, but that's beside the
You can change it out, yeah. The t-shirts are exactly the same as last
Oh, okay.
year. They're not new t-shirts, I just ordered more. we went through the large sizes very fast, so we beefed up that, so we have a stock where we could either sell them or give them away, but just having 10 smalls just bugged me, so I needed to have
Can't we get some
larges to sit next
kids?
to them.
Can't we get some kids?
Yeah,
Jason's
but
kids
they're
like to
they're
do that.
giveaways
Oh,
for
okay.
kids, that'd be great, but the main objective was to get some large sizes for the banner carriers, so that's covered, have them next week.
Okay, so I guess the real question is, do we want to spend monies towards prizes or not? And if so, we've got to vote on that tonight, right?
Yeah, well, we have 2 other items on the agenda where the contest prizes drawings can come up. We have the outreach strategy, the year-long outreach strategy, of which the Butter and Eggs is a part, and we have a discussion of
The rules.
The rules. We,
Rules for the
Marcel and I both
Really
independently
nice.
stumbled into a minefield that for nonprofits, sweepstakes are kind of a touchy subject. You gotta do them correctly, and so we've done
Right.
some research, we got a lot of documentation on it.
Right. Okay, so then do we want to close out item 1 and move to 2?
Yes,
Okay, which is
So there's
action,
no action on this item?
no action on item 1.
no, well, you're gonna vote it perhaps on some prizes, but that can be in the other item.
Right. So no action on item 1. Item 2 under old business would be discussion and possible action on a 2012 outreach strategy. John?
Yeah, I'm trying to think out in the future. I mean, here we started Butter and Eggs Day on January 1st, beautiful. And we're getting ahead of ourselves on budgets and activity plans. So why not start thinking now about the annual meeting in September? Also, I was seeing a lot of energy going, a lot of discussion going into the Butter and Eggs Day, and that's just such a short-term payoff that it would be great to have that same discussion over the year and part of it in the Butter and Eggs Day. So for me, the outreach strategy starts with the Butter and Eggs Day and ends with the annual meeting in September. The objectives would be to build our email list of interested people in Petaluma, not necessarily members, but interested in PCA, to build our memberships, specifically targeting the champion memberships, $30 to be a member. You don't have to touch a camera. I have a feeling there's people out there who just are put off by the technology, so they write it off, I can't be a member. We need to tell them that they can be a member. And we were talking earlier about the staff party, that's in July. I would love to have, I went to a benefit for the museum at Lagunitas, and they had a great band, and they had a lot of people, and it was just a great event. And I was thinking that PCA should have a party for the whole town with music, and that would be our members meeting. And if we were to agree to that tonight, then we could start to build around it. We could then weigh our drawing prizes on a year-long basis rather than all in one shot, and really milk it for what it's worth, get our money's worth out of it. Because I really don't think the audience of the parade is the right venue for a big, high-profile prize.
Can I just interrupt you on one thing, because Lagunitas, and it surprised the heck out of me just this past week. A group called P4, some of you may have heard of it, but they're basically a tax initiative, a parcel initiative, because the city isn't doing anything for the parks anyway. So we might as well go out there and get in line with all the taxes that are gonna be on the ballot this year, and hopefully all the people won't go, no, 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 no. But as far as Lagunitas, we had very little outreach, very little. We had some key players in the city, but very little. 3 days before, we had sold 57 tickets. Our minimum to break even was 100, and we were scared what the Brown Act does. And literally, we had 347 people show up. Lagunitas ponied up more money after we were done. They even gave us a portion of the bar bill, because I guess we attracted some pretty good boozers. And it was a miserable night, pouring rain. Now, they have an overhang, but it was pouring rain as cold as it could be a week ago Tuesday. Use these guys. This Lagunitas guy knows how to bully the city. He knows how to get what he wants. He knows how to, as our Kirk Klingsfield can tell you, he knows how to move buildings if he needs to. But he gets things done and they're fantastic. So, I mean, that amazed me, 350 some odd people. So, and it was $25 a piece. So you're talking about a nice little take. So anyway, I just wanted to encourage.
If you don't know
that.
the venue as a potential fundraiser or corporate party situation, Butter and Eggs Day is having a benefit
Right.
there. Do you know the date? I was looking for the notes I made. I think it's,
It's like next, God, I don't know.
it's in April. I think it's first week of April.
Yeah, it's like 2
Um,
weeks.
You can check it out then.
And I just have to say Lagunitas has been very supportive for some of the academic initiatives too. They've hosted events there for our anthropology department, and things like that, and donated back towards that cause, so.
Well, we had, Thomas went out and did a kind of a around town visit to local community businesses, and he and Ken Wayne did one on Lagunitas and got a nice email back saying, if there's anything we can do for you guys, let us know. So we're in perfect position to set it up, and we got a good lead time, so. I think the real value though is giving us a longer term to play out our objectives and to define them really as membership and situating our profile more in the consciousness of Petaluma.
Sounds like a great plan.
So shall we settle on that kind of a members party and we can start to build on it? Is that something we need to do now, or can I just start to develop it and bring it back and show you, tell you what we got?
Nobody's disagreeing with you.
Okay.
Bring back what you got.
Yeah.
Would there still be the luminaria
Yeah, I think
awards
so.
taking place at the same time and?
Yeah, I think that would
Something
be
like
a
that.
great idea, because, I mean, we wanna build on what was a success last year and turn it into
Good,
an
that's-
established,
That was the answer I
yeah,
was looking for.
yeah.
In fact, I think the next step for the Butter and Eggs Day Parade would be for somebody in the luminary and organizing team to contact them personally. I sent out an email, the ED of
Contact whom?
the winners.
The
to see if
participants
they'll
and winners and see if they'll.
retouch base with them to see if we can reignite that, because they, walking with their trophies, is the motor that's gonna get new entries in for next year.
John, how effective was the Petaluma Fair in getting new members? And
Not, we got you.
that was it?
I think we got one other. It wasn't that effective.
So very effective. is
Yeah,
the
very.
answer.
Yeah, we got a good member, he's already on the board, good lord.
No, it was kind of a drain.
Well, it wasn't the best
Was not quite
location.
the demographic that,
No,
that might.
not at all.
It's a notch above the parade, if you wanna talk about demographics.
I think it's pretty close to the parade. I think it's
Yeah.
almost the same people.
But it was nice to be there, but it didn't really pay off. I'm curious whether we're even gonna do it this year.
What about the River Festival? Did we do that?
That one, I brought it up last year, and it didn't happen, but I
that
think
would be
it,
a fun one to have a lot of people there with cameras and make a big deal of filming it.
well, we did that once at the fair. We had a members, not a contest, but we had a members project where we had a dozen people go out with a camera and just shoot, and got some good video. But I would rather put the eggs in the Rivertown event this year. We're gonna have the flags around the white canopy,
Right,
PCA's
it's
there, and we'll have more
outdoors,
room
yeah.
presence. But I would really hope for some board participation, because as ambassadors, being able to talk, that's what happens at the fair, and after you've done it a couple times, you're tired. So if you got 2 people doing it 3 days in a row, they're burned out by the 3rd day. You need to fresh blood and new energy to talk it up. Have the membership form right there, and make sure they know that they don't have to touch a camera to be a member.
I hate to say this, my wife made the comment, but we went the 3rd day, I guess.
The fair?
Yeah, and because we just came back and we were dead tired, but she said, let's go to the fair, whoop-de-doo. And we walked by the booth and it was empty. And she looked at me and she said, that's impressive. I said, well, they're probably tired or going to the bathroom.
Yeah, well, we couldn't staff it the whole time.
No, it's hard, I agree.
So we picked a time, and I think we picked the wrong time. It's hard to tell. And that we were in the indoor exhibition hall, and I
With the
think
count.
we were afraid of the music at night making it impossible to talk, but it turns out the nights were more crowded than the afternoons.
Mhm.
Live and learn. But I
So-
think that I would love to do the Rivertown.
So if the water department asks, we're not interested this year?
What do you guys think?
At least not in the same capacity?
In the, I'm sorry.
They shared a booth, water
Oh,
department
oh.
and PCA.
Well, I always felt like it was the wrong venue for PCA. It wasn't quite the right venue, and I know that the commitment that was necessary for it probably would not turn out the response that we were looking for. So my sense is that our efforts are better utilized elsewhere.
Exactly, you don't have to be
Okay,
everywhere.
so let's say this year we're not gonna do the presents at the fair. We'll try to do video presents and that kind of thing, but,
And
try
the
to
water
make it
bill
happen
wasn't
at
that
the,
popular at that
Rivertown.
time.
Rivertown is more
We have-
uniquely Petaluma.
Yeah,
Is there any way we could have people make movies at our booth? Newcomers coming up and have them make a movie of some sort, and that's their.
good idea.
We could do something fun like, what do you love about Petaluma, and then, just get people to talk about it, and,
Yeah, you need the right
Right,
demographic.
right, yeah.
That, we tried that at the fair, it didn't.
no, but at the River Festival,
River Festival might be more.
Let's get biggest.
All right.
Or what about the American Graffiti, the car festival?
We cover it, I mean, we've had members cover it, we've never done it, but we've had members cover it. Yeah.
Anything
Anthony
else?
Shapiro?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's much better.
Anything else on this item?
Do
you?
Well, the basic concept was do you agree that a year-long campaign is wiser than everything into the butter and eggs? Because that'll help us decide on the prizes in the next item.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
well,
think so too.
I think that in the butter and egg days committee meetings, this is the path we were
Yeah, no.
we were
I wanted
starting to
bring it the
follow,
full
yes.
board and
Yes,
get
yes.
a full buy-in. Okay,
So it makes sense. Okay.
well, I'll contact Lagunitas and I'll contact the band I have in mind.
Right, because we'll need to secure a date with them soon.
Yeah. And just to refresh my memory, the members meeting comes after our September meeting.
It's right around the last week of
Yeah,
September.
between our last meeting, our September meeting and the end of the month.
Right, we're the third Tuesday, and then between that third Tuesday and the end of the month,
Okay,
it falls in there
we'll
sometime.
find a day and we'll
Yeah.
start talking to Lagunitas.
Yeah,
One point on that is if you're gonna use Lagunitas and it's gonna be a fundraiser, people are gonna pay for tickets, and it's one thing to come to a party and all, but it's always nice to have some kind of a cause, it's one thing to just say general support of PCA, it's another to, some particular thing that you wanna do with it. I mean, we had a fundraiser there for the Petaluma Adobe, and there was urgency to, we had to raise money, or it's gonna close this year, and lots of people showed up and put their money in, and I think there were prizes donated and things like that, because it was something really that had pressure involved on it. So the more you have those types of campaigns as part of it, the better you can do.
I wasn't seeing this as a fundraiser, but laying the ground for a fundraiser, getting us more into the community. This is more of a celebration. We've had 4 great years, we're still here, and we've got a real good buzz around town. Let's celebrate that and make everybody who comes feel like they're part of PCA. That'll become our base. We get their emails, we infiltrate.
okay, then let's switch gears to new business. Item 3, discussion and possible action on rules for iPad 3 or other prizes sweepstakes. Marcel?
Yeah, I sent the link on the rules for sweepstake, defining contest and sweepstakes. I learned that we're not doing a contest, we're doing a sweepstake. this is the California rules, and I put together, I don't know, John, did you want me to pass it out, or somebody to go through it and decide what we want to have, the rules?
Yes,
So I have copies,
if you pass it out, Kate went through it for the fine tooth comb.
okay?
I've got lots of comments for just changing the wording to how to make, I should say that Marcel got the California version and also drafted a version for us, a working copy that we can work on, that we can have on the website.
May I ask a question before we even get into that? You had mentioned the difference between a contest and a sweepstakes. Is it a sweepstakes because we're considering giving something out during the Butter and Eggs Day Parade, but if we were to not give something out at the Butter and Eggs Day Parade, then it would be, say, a contest that might be attached to the luminarian and different rules would apply?
A contest is when the people pay for it. A
Uh-huh.
sweepstake, they don't pay for it.
Okay.
It's a free,
It's a free thing, so before we get into this discussion, would it be beneficial to the board to make the decision whether we're gonna be actually giving or offering some sort of prize at Butter and Eggs or not? Because I've already heard some dissension
yeah, I
on
would
this.
like
And
to
before we
clear
go
that
into the
too.
details of
Yeah.
this, maybe we can decide that and, save ourselves a detailed discussion on a point that might be moot.
Does this law actually apply if nobody has to put up money?
Yeah, there's a rules that you have to follow. This is a sweepstake.
Yeah, I read it when you sent it, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
So,
I'm confused, when are we gonna have a drawing? I was gonna suggest that we have a drawing at our May meeting here.
The annual meeting or here?
No, our May meeting.
Oh, the May meeting.
Yeah, so we have the parade, and then we advertise for a drawing and have the drawing at the May meeting, but from what I hear, we're probably gonna have the drawing in September, which is fine with me.
Well,
We can have more than one drawing.
Mm.
Campaign of constantly giving away stuff is maybe more effective than,
right, and that's where I was saying earlier when we were on item 1, when Ray was talking about the parade.
Mhm.
And my question was, do we need to allocate some money out of the budget to get some big ticket items? And I think that's what we need to take into consideration right now is we have to design the contest or the sweepstakes or whatever we're going to call it. We need to design this around our giveaways. And we have not completely identified what those giveaways are, so we
Okay.
can't design the sweepstakes.
The last meeting, Jason asked if anybody wanted to give some prize. I committed to the iPad, and I committed to 4 tickets for the movie theater, and I committed for dinner for 2 somewhere.
Right, but I thought you specified that the iPad was not going to be part of the Butter and Egg Days.
iPad's gonna be part of the drawing. The Butter and Egg Day is a different thing than the drawing. We're not gonna have the.
Okay, well, see, we're all
drawing.
talking about, are we talking about one thing here, or are we talking about 2 things here? 2 events or 1 event?
The Butter and Egg Day should not be for a huge ticket, and I've said
Right.
that from the beginning. And I think the whole board agreed on that almost
Yes.
last
Right.
time, or
That's
if
right.
I'm speaking
That's
wrong.
right.
And I don't feel any different.
except Jason.
That's right.
So, well,
But-
Jason said you didn't agree, so you never know there.
That's right.
But,
We can use the Butter and Egg Parade to advertise
Oh,
the
yeah,
drawing, to
absolutely.
get some people to come to the drawing, and it's a big crowd that's gonna be there, and we can all participate in advertising for PCA.
Right, but I don't think, okay, so if we want this drawing to be in May,
well, then it's.
then
the
it's
Butter
gonna
and Egg
have to be a specific Butter and Egg Day drawing not this long campaign that you're talking about.
No, the campaign is larger than the drawings. It's the first drawing. We have a butter and egg steak
Okay,
campaign.
so the first drawing would be the iPad?
That's what I would recommend, not giving the iPad away at the Butter and Egg Steak Parade. I think that the prizes that will attract that audience would be restaurants and movie tickets
Okay.
and
Exactly.
something like that. And that could be short-term. I love the idea of having it at the board meeting in May. We have it, we talk about it at the Butter and Egg Steak Parade. We have the winner here at the May board meeting. That could be beautiful. And with that, the momentum of that, okay, PCA is alive and kicking and giving away things, then we could start at the Rivertown event saying, we have a big drawing for an iPad 3, gonna give it away at our party at the Lagunitas, all that kind of stuff. So it's like the second tier of the same strategy with 2 drawings in it, one at the beginning, one at the
Okay.
end.
Let me make a comment on drawings and such. I'm a little resistant to drawings of any types that for no participation, in other words, just like a sweepstakes type drawing, because first of all, PCA is a nonprofit organization, and we don't want to give the impression that we're spending money on things that we're giving away without any sort of participation upon membership, etc. Secondly, I'm not quite sure it's gonna draw people. I mean, our job is to get people to find interest in PCA because of what we do rather than because of something that we might give away. And Marcel has been kind enough to donate an iPad, which seems to be a wonderful prize for, say, the top luminarian winner. Because that way it is tied to something that is achievement based around a PCA activity.
Then that would be a contest.
Okay, well, that, however it might be called, but it seems to me that's more in line with what PCA is about than sweepstakes and giveaways, et cetera, like that. And I'm afraid that might, cheapen our brand a little bit, and then also provoke a little bit of resentment because we are a nonprofit that people do still feel like they're paying for through their duplicate checks or their Comcast bill. And we don't want them to feel like we do when we see the United States Postal Service, do an Olympic team, right?
Right.
We've seen before. So those are just some thoughts before we get started.
Eric, on number 1, I disagree because all nonprofits will say all prizes donated. They would
That's what
never
I
have on there that
Yeah,
anything
I
spent.
understand.
And that's usually in pretty big print when nonprofits do it, for the very reason, you're correct in your assumption. But you never stop doing giveaways, you just say they're all donated. And in this case, yes, it happened to be a member that donated, of course. So, I mean, I'm not afraid of that. The second one, a little bit, yeah, but the first one, don't be afraid of that, because you covered that.
I'd rather see that we use that as a tool to get more participation. And whether that's saying that we donate that to a member and it's gonna be given away at the members party, and if we got 400 people at Lagunitas at the members party, and that was sort of a reward, we got returned from the member, from Lagunitas, maybe we got, 10 or 20%, like some restaurants do of the tab for the day. As a fundraiser for both PCA, and that's also a tool to get people there, or at the holiday party or something like that. Because we've been struggling trying to get that turnout.
Yeah, and I think the clearest objective for me for the parade is we want to beef up our email list,
Correct.
which we will then use to beef up PCA. We wanted a short term, and I think that's why we wanted to say, if all you have to do is send us an email and your name is in the drawing.
Right.
We've got their address, bingo.
I think that's an incentive to investigate what is PCA, what did we do.
It's a start,
At
and
least
it's also reaching a lot of people who aren't really our natural demographic. They might want a restaurant ticket, they send us an email, they don't even know who we are, they send us their email. We've got their email, they'll find out who we are over the course of the year. The giving away the big prize, the iPad, I think it should be, you have to be a PCA member. We're not gonna give it away to a stranger, it's just.
I don't think
it's
we have
not-
that choice.
Yeah, I don't.
What?
We don't have that choice.
I think if we
forcing
have to bring people in, we have to open it to Petaluma people.
Well, isn't
I
that
think so.
isn't that a way to bring people in, is if you wanna win this, become a member?
No, you only stipulate
You can
that winner
tell.
has to be present at the time of drawing.
Okay. Okay, well then there's more discussion on that.
Unless you did a sweepstakes that was essentially a different sweepstakes that is new members from, April 28th through blah, 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 also qualify for, a separate sweepstakes and that would be a new member drawing, something like that.
Yeah, I think we have time and we will be able to shape that. I just think the iPad should be saved for that kind of event and more thought given to it. Just on the idea of using the iPad for the luminarians, you would need to really beef up the rules on that, because it's kind of lightweight. One person gets their friends to
Yeah,
put
the
in
Picornis are good at that.
100 votes a day, they're gonna win. It's
Yeah.
not a clean.
All right.
I was also thinking for additional prizes, we might want to solicit some of the new businesses, at least the
Yeah.
larger corporations coming into town. It might be worth talking to Target or Friedman's, trying to get into town, or Tractor Supply or something like that.
Well, that's right now, we're trying to decide how we're gonna run the contest. As I understood at the last board meeting, you were all supposed to bring your prizes for the butter and egg steak today. So if you didn't bring them, they're not in the mix. We can draw up a list on the basis of what we've got and what people have promised. If we take
It's not very impressive though, not at all.
what's not impressive?
The amount of people that contributed.
2
So-
DVD players and an
self-included.
iPad, that's not a war chest of prizes like
Well,
we
Marcel's got
said
movie
we want.
tickets in a restaurant and,
Jason had something with
I have the
Aquas
tickets to the
or somewhere.
movies.
Yeah, that's
yeah, and
nice.
Jason had something.
Jason has something with Aquas.
Aquas, yeah, and something else. So I'm just saying that the idea of getting prizes, yeah, we can keep playing that idea out, but we need a target and a concept for what we're gonna do with those prizes. And if you spend money, then we're spending money to build our email list. Yeah, I would say.
Well, I thought that's what the subcommittee was supposed to be doing.
Well, I was pretty clear that I'd sort of lost touch with that particular thing to some degree, and that's not important in the scheme of things. But it was being handled by a group of subcommittees. And that's passing a buck, not my style,
Well-
but it was true.
Part of our challenge is that everybody's got their own idea and everybody wants their idea to be the one that is applied and it's not working.
No, I
So it's now really falls back on this body to make the decision. So who's got a recommendation? Cause I don't.
At the risk of being the wet blanket, I would submit that if we're going to give stuff away, we should be giving things away towards a purpose of creating revenue.
You mean selling tickets for, if selling tickets for an iPad, I don't think we would sell very many tickets.
No.
It's not a
I wasn't suggesting the contest.
That's
I was
not-
just kind of thinking the efforts that we do should be oriented towards increasing revenue.
I agree, but I think you have to get members in order to get revenue, and I think the members come first. And my
Well,
suggestion that during the committee was that this thing should be just a small beginning of a long strategy over a period of a year or so that involved the annual meeting, the Lagunitas, which I didn't know about thing. Just start to create an atmosphere that we're a place to come. I agree with Eric, don't start giving away everything. If that's the only way you can attract people, you suck. But what I'm saying is make it at least part of your pitch, that you're a place to go have fun, maybe get something, join a group that's a lot of fun. That was my
Well,
thought.
see, that's the thing, is on the ticket is a QR code which will, and an URL to take people to the website. And that's part of what they
Good.
have to get through before they can even enter for the drawing.
Oh, okay, so you're not even really doing anything, okay, that's fine then.
And the thing is that
So then you have
we
to set when you're
can't just
drawing.
entertain our member base because we only have 120 members. when you consider how many people are in this community and we only have 120 members, we might as well say we have no members, really.
And
Really, John, 120 is
Oh, it's
nothing.
It is nothing. That's
That's-
shocking.
I mean,
that's
I'm
not
not
the
saying
point.
that they aren't valuable. The 120 we have are valuable
Can't believe it.
members, but it's not good enough.
we should have more, we should have 500, at least 500 members.
Yes.
Well, that seems to be a different discussion. This is now a discussion about a sweepstakes and prizes and such,
Right.
and it has to be done fairly quickly, because we have
Right.
a parade coming up
Right.
shortly, so.
The whole point of doing this was to try and reach people so that they would get to that website and look at it and
Right.
know more about us.
We understand that, so.
Right, and get their emails so that we can add them to our distribution list, so that they can continue to receive more from us, not just enter our portal and then disappear again.
That's correct.
Right.
Thank you for stating it so clearly. The question then is, do we have the time and the resources to put this together before the Brother and Ed parade, the parade? And secondly, do we have the prize, as you put it, war chest that is necessary to entice people to go through the process that we're asking them to do? That seems to be the two questions that
Yes.
are here.
Well put.
And we gotta pull the trigger on this tonight, because the other thing was that the committee agreed that we should get those coupons out before the parade. This is not something that we're gonna hand out at the parade. We're gonna take these and go to our friends in the community who have businesses and say, would you mind putting these out as teasers before the parade? And then we show them off again at the parade. So we begin now. We don't wait till mid-April.
So one way to deal with this, if we decide to do it at the parade, might be to have the drawing at the annual meeting in September, but still give, this coupon out at the parade, and just make mention that the drawing will be at the annual meeting, in September. And I know that's a long way away,
Is.
but
Yeah, that's not,
It's a long
I don't
way.
think that's gonna dissuade people necessarily from doing this work, if indeed they, they get
It's a
this.
long way,
these
they may
things.
come up with an iPad 4.
yeah.
Or we could just
Save
say
money.
the first giveaway is, and that buys us some time
Yes, that's,
to gain more prizes.
That could be, but if you, on this coupon, people will wanna know what the prizes are. I mean, it's,
or at least
Yeah, we
something.
have to have
yeah,
a list
there
of
has
it.
to have a list
It
of
has to
something.
be on the rules, what price are.
Yeah, it
we
has
are
to
On the
be.
doing.
website or on the
On the
ticket?
rules, and the rules will be
On the
on the
website.
website.
So,
Website.
Right.
Does the ticket have
Right.
room?
It-
And
No,
I-
it's not, it
No, it
won't
doesn't
fit on
be
the
on.
ticket.
Yeah, that's what I think.
so let me ask you a question, Marcel, because you seem closest to this. Does this seem like an inordinate amount of work to do for you or for a subcommittee in time for the Butter and Eggs Day Parade?
Seems to me that we're almost there, we almost have the rules done.
Mhm.
But in order to finish the rules, we have to know exactly what we have to give out.
Mhm.
And what is it worth? It has to be in the rules. And, but then we have, I know I have an iPad, I know I have dinner for two, and I have the theater tickets. So can we come up with some more price? Can somebody go to business and ask business, would you give this for the drawing, and you'll be on television? We could go and film their business.
Well,
giving the price away.
that's an ambitious schedule between now and April, whatever.
Neil has something to say.
And Neil?
Well, and this may be something for a subcommittee, but what if this thing it's more of a contest than a sweepstakes, and you're giving out a card at the Butter and Eggs Day Parade, and it says, here's a list of prizes, and in order to be eligible to win, you have to go to the PCA website, you have to enter with your email address, and you have to answer a number of questions that are that we come up with
Allegedly.
that are either about the movies or about television or about broadcasting
Or about PCA?
or about PCA or about its schedule, And so then you're kind of selecting a group that cares, and you're also making sure that the people who have answered the questions probably have to go on PCA. They have to do a little research and find out about it, and if they answer the questions right, then they're entered into a drawing, and they win something. And you honor them at the annual meeting, and you pull them in, and then maybe you pull, if you get 10 or 20 prizes, then you pull those 10 or 20 in to your annual meeting, and maybe you get them to be members somehow or another. But it's more, rather than just a shotgun approach, it's much more of a,
It's more complicated.
it is more complicated.
Yeah, the only thing is you
But
can't,
John could come up with a movie trivia in his sleep, I'm sure.
what if they all have missed the question on what do you know about PCA? Would that be a tough thing?
Well, I think it's just whoever answers the best, you know.
I
you-
know,
you-
I just-
you-
You can't list the prizes, I've told already on the sheet. That
problem-
might be an issue.
The problem when I'm looking here is, if I read this, what Marcel distributed, is that a contest specifically requires you to list the prizes and your odds to win the prize.
Oh, okay.
And
That's right.
a sweepstakes can have variable odds,
Right.
but must be open to all there must be no cost, and it must be open for anyone
But
to.
we're not charging anybody for
Yeah.
any of this. I don't
Correct.
think that something you don't charge for, I don't even know, is it even covered under these laws? We're
That's
not
still-
asking anybody for anything.
It still would be a sweepstakes.
It's a sweepstakes
If
and
you
it's a
don't
valid
ask anybody,
sweepstakes.
if the contest, if the people don't pay anything, it's a sweepstake. If it is a contest, yeah. What is-
So let's assume that the iPad is the
Okay.
greatest draw.
So what is needed? How many price is needed to be enough?
I would say that we close the door on the prizes, what we've got is what we've got. And I'm saying, let's give the iPad away. That'll get some emails coming in.
So basically, you're saying that you're gonna give out a coupon that says, go to the PCA website, enter your email address, and you're automatically qualified to
And
win
I
an
wouldn't put
iPad.
it as bluntly as that, say, enter the contest
Yeah,
via email.
This we
But
can-
they would
yeah.
do it because they're gonna wanna win an iPad.
yeah.
And then there are other things that go with it, restaurants, movies, DVD players.
But the iPad would be the big giveaway,
Yeah, the
because when you
iPad
do
would
that
be the
little
big-
coupon, you're not gonna have room for.
What I'm seeing is that it's too far out to connect the two drawings between
Right.
April and September, forget that. Maybe we don't need a drawing in September, maybe we go to another level. We've talked about fundraiser, that's something that I hadn't even thought of. If we wanna make it a fundraising event, that's different, it's not an annual meeting. I think it should be the annual meeting and it should be a celebration. But I would say we limit this contest idea to the Butter and Eggs Day. We do the best we can with what we got as prizes, no more, can we get more prizes? We try it, see how it works. We'll compare our notes at the end and see if we wanna do it again or how we can do it better.
Okay, and so this is a sweepstakes.
Yes, we call it a sweepstakes,
And so you suggest that we do it for the
yeah.
and when do we do the drawing?
I like the May at the.
The May meeting?
Yeah,
I
that's
like
not,
that. I
that's
like
not
that.
far away.
Okay.
That's like 1 month, they have 1 month to get their emails.
Now, are you still gonna
And-
try to put them out in businesses?
Yeah,
So entries will still be coming in until
We'll be
May?
circulating that
Okay.
whole month.
Okay.
We'll
And
have
in
it on-
order to reach as many people as possible, you could give your business card. I have a whole box of
Mhm.
business cards, and I can put anything on the back of the
Oh,
card,
I
and you
see.
give this to everybody. You go to a restaurant or you go to anywhere. You give them cards and let them know that
Mhm.
that we have a contest coming, and
I like this idea.
Yeah, this is very good.
if you want to change, let me know what you want to put on the back of your business card. I'll do it, and they'll have cards to put out. Give it to everybody. You go to restaurant, you go to the theater, you go to meetings, your neighbors, give the card away.
Mhm.
But then you can give it away until we have a date.
Okay. Sounds like
Okay.
a great idea, thank you.
Okay, I think we have a consensus here.
Okay. So
And
then,
I've been the one fighting, fighting giving away the iPad at the parade, but I give up. I mean, it makes more sense this way.
So, okay, so we're gonna have the parade and
The big prizes.
advertise as much as possible, and we'll have the drawing at the May meeting.
So on the PCA website, then you're gonna have a big link that'll say enter the
Right.
iPad
Yes.
3 sweepstakes here.
Make it
And
easy.
even if you take the invitation and flash a little barcode or whatever, it should take you right there.
That's right, but
It has to be easy to get
it has
to.
to
Yeah,
be very
easy
easy
to
and
see.
very clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would propose that
Yeah.
staff-wise, Kate would be the point
I
person.
went
She's
Friday
working with
morning.
Jason and Cindy already. She can now work with
I was there
Marcel on getting the
on
prizes
Friday.
lined up
It was
and
people
getting it on the
waiting.
bulletin board and getting it
20
publicized,
employees
press release,
waiting there for
press
me.
release before the parade.
Mm.
Yeah.
We could jump into that right now if we close the door on the prizes.
Well, I think we have to at this
Yeah.
point. I don't.
Yeah.
It was no one.
Is there any way we could set up a computer outside of a place that's got Wi-Fi, that let us use their Wi-Fi and actually have people sign up while they're at the Butter Days Day Parade?
Well, there's
Rather than go home and-
Wi-Fi range downtown.
Yeah.
It's called
Yeah.
a booth.
However, I
find a good
wouldn't, I
location,
wouldn't count
set up
that it's gonna work well when you put 50, 60,000 people with their iPhones down there downtown.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's productive, Neil.
no.
Just because I know, we tried to have an extra staff member give out brochures while we were shooting and nobody's looking at us.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
They're all on
everyone's
the
got
parade,
drumsticks in their turkey drumsticks in their hand.
yeah, you get a lot of ice cream on the,
dodging drunks.
Well, these are old.
the drunks were later, they keep telling that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
to go back, are we okay with butter and egg now then, to get jumped back in? Everybody's got something to do and we're okay with the iPad? Okay,
Okay.
Marcel, would you work with Kate on the drawing?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Thank you,
Cindy's-
Marcel, for
Cindy-
all the hard work you put into
Is
this.
Jason,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got the
Well,
vision.
And resources.
Jason
I'm
is out.
participating
Yeah.
online.
Super job.
Thank you.
And Ray as well, thank you very much. I know you've done. a
I
tremendous
tried.
amount.
Yes. Okay. Our best year yet.
Okay,
Oh, really?
moving on.
Okay, that was, where are we? That was item 3.
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Okay, we've got this room for
Jason,
40 more minutes, so we're gonna have to
40
be
more minutes.
aggressive on these last 4 items.
especially this one.
Okay, item number 4, discussion and possible
what is it?
action to obtain legal opinion on
What's the $10
PCA's
start?
Brown Act requirements. Tim?
I'm gonna give it to Jason.
I'll move it.
Really?
I mean, do we have an
Cool.
attorney? Do we need this?
We're gonna pay an attorney for the, I vote no.
Well, can we hear what Tim has to
Yeah,
say
let's-
before we
let's-
just pass judgment here,
We've had
folks?
this
I didn't get a second.
We've had this
Doesn't
discussion.
matter.
Okay,
Well,
good.
you guys don't even know what he's gonna say.
Oh, yes, I do.
I'm gonna say that Ray's voting no, just because Neil brought it up.
Oh, I'm saying, look at you, bro.
What are we voting on?
Anyway,
Anything
What
against the
Neil
Brown
brought
Act.
up.
Okay.
Okay, so I was doing some research on the Ralph M. Brown Act, which is the Open Meeting Act in California, on another topic, and I ran across a paragraph which led me to believe that if they have an organization that gets taxpayer or tax type funds, I'm saying tax type in the little quotation thingies, that you're subject to the open meeting requirements. Now, given that we have in our policies a statement that says we are not bound by the Brown Act, but we choose to for purposes of transparency, I thought that between the two of those, and especially since what I found was in the reading the Brown Act, that there was a way to read that by saying that that would cover us, because we do get a type of tax. It's a franchise tax. So rather than try to argue, I thought maybe that would be a very prudent way to spend some money on an attorney's fees, even if it were just an hour. Is this applicable to us or not?
Now, do we need to talk to an attorney, or can we just, is this covered by the FPPC?
Now, do you
it's-
want,
it's
you want
an-
some history on this? I can provide you with a little history on
I
this.
wasn't gonna go there, but because of your 40 minutes, but.
No, it's so simple. I mean, I don't think we need legal opinion either. What happened was a administration a long time ago, I would say 10, 12 years ago, a board, the board at that time discussed it and decided that they were going to follow the guidelines of the Ralph M. Brown Act. Now, I believe at that time, if I remember, I believe it was the Buskey group that we got an opinion from on that. Were you around then?
People
Right.
would-
There, if you check with other access stations, nobody does this. We do this because there was bickering at the time. There were allegations of fiduciary wrongdoing. There were allegations of stealing money. There was all kinds of horrible things going on at that time. And so one board member put it out there that we should follow the Brown Act, and everybody voted in favor of it. That's the only reason why it applies to this group, is because a board voted on it. All you have to do to undo this is to vote to not follow the Brown Act anymore, and I think we're gonna be fine. That doesn't mean that we aren't going to, we're not going to continue to be as transparent as possible. You know, we worry about such things like email. We can't have a conversation in email, even as innocent as where can we all meet for drinks or whatever, and somebody's crying Brown Act. So, you know, that's one way to get around it, is to not hold ourselves to those limitations.
Can we do that without having somebody say, you're not allowed to do that? Take out the Brown Act from our rules, from our,
The board voluntarily adopted those guidelines.
so we can voluntarily
Now,
dismiss
if you
them?
guys think that we need to get legal opinion, that's fine. I
Have we
would-
ever had advice that we're subject to the Brown Act? I mean, you're bringing it up that somebody has said this might apply.
I don't know that, I wasn't here when somebody said that, it's just the way that the law reads, it looks like that there is a way to read that, and
It says if
I
you-
did not,
It
being
doesn't
an
apply to
attorney,
us.
I don't wanna,
And I think if we ask John to call Novato Community Access, I mean, even,
I've already checked with Santa Rosa, they don't.
no,
Yeah.
nobody
Well,
does.
Would the city attorney have an opinion on
the
this?
city attorney can't give us
Right.
an opinion.
Oh, I see.
Now, if you
I mean,
contact
how
an
much is it gonna
attorney-
cost us to ask our,
Has anybody Googled it even to see, you know,
They're doing it right now.
Oh my
FPPC
God,
/ Brown
it's
Act?
been done so many
or,
times.
you know,
No, I think Tim's reading is,
I sent
Interpret-
John the paragraph number and the
Yeah.
quote.
and I said, oh, we're not getting city money, so we're not bound by the city, but Tim's reading of taxes is the key point. Does his reading of taxes validate the obligation to, because we are, if the money we get through pay can be called taxes, then we might be bound by it. That's Tim's concern. Cindy's correct, it was created out of a defensive gesture, and hopefully we've got past the defensive culture. I think it would be more economical to be able to not have to break my emails up into little groups, as I do. But, you know, that, I think Cindy's got a point. Tim's point, though, is different. How do you read the taxes? That would be a legal opinion. Can we get one? It'd be great if we could get a pro bono.
Well,
Any
according
discussion?
to the state, this Department of Justice, we're subject to the Brown Act if a legislative body delegates some of its functions to a private corporation or entity, or if a legislative body provides some of its funding to a private corporation or nonprofit or entity and appoints one of its members to serve as a voting member of the entity's board of directors.
That's the one I read.
So who's from the
So-
city is on our board of directors?
Tim.
Shut up.
We can get rid of you.
Okay.
I'm just,
And that's code
But you're not-
54952C1B.
okay, now, does it say anything about an elected board member?
No, it just says if you're a nonprofit corporation or entity, private nonprofit corporation or entity. And if part of the legislative body provides some funding to a private corporation or entity and appoints one of its members to serve as a voting member
Okay,
of an entity's board of directors.
I remember reading that. The "and" is crucial.
Mhm.
They gotta give you the money and have a voting member. If we just have a voting member, and we don't get any money from the city of Petaluma, does that count?
But
We
don't-
do get
but-
money from the
We
city.
do
of
get
Petaluma.
money.
No, we
I
don't.
would
It's
get rid of,
passed
I would get rid of the voting
Pass on the
member and
money.
keep the
Comes from
money.
Comcast.
if it was
No, but
good.
it's pass-through money, we're not getting the
The
money.
city does not give.
Right,
us
so the
money.
city never touches the money.
Actually, the city does.
It does.
Well,
Yeah, it collects it and then passes it through.
But it's not the same as,
And the city is contracts, contracts what we do to us. So it's actually, we're a contractor to the city.
Well, I think Tim's initial point is valid in that, if we're to question this at all, it might be worth it, just to have an attorney give us an opinion so that we can base our decision, if we decide not to go with the Brown Act, on the advice of an attorney, which is a good, CYA move anyway.
Or AB.
so make
You
a
know what I mean?
motion.
So it might be worth going to an attorney for 1 hour or whatever it is and just getting a written document that says, yes, we can, or no, we shouldn't, follow the Brown Act. And that's what
Right.
we do.
Is that a motion?
I so move.
Good.
But I'm sorry, what was the motion?
Next time.
It was just to get
Well,
an
not-
opinion.
Marcel, so that's it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, there's a
Can we
motion on the floor.
continue the discussion, my concern? Can
Oh,
we
okay.
continue the discussion? with-
Well, hold on, there's a motion on the floor. Is
Okay.
anybody gonna second the motion? Otherwise, it's dead. Okay, it's dead. Go ahead.
Then it's not gonna pass.
Hey, come back, you can get a second.
You can-
It's
you-
okay. I might change my mind by the time we get
Right.
No,
Where
my
was that
concern is
section?
that, do we have,
We're
does,
under
will
page
the
6.
attorney spend 3 hours, 4 hours to try to find the law? Do we know, do we have an attorney specializing on this subject?
That's what we'd have to do,
If
is find
if we have an
somebody.
attorney that knows the business, it's $350. We know what's gonna cost, not more than 500. But if the attorney has to do research
big
and
research.
spend hours on it, then it could cost us quite a bit of money.
No, what is this?
I think it would be as simple as probably going to,
Functions, is that a modifier to
what's our
functions?
organization
That's
that
what it's
we,
listed under. That's the interpretation.
Oh, the
of
ACM.
And-
Alliance
and
for
and
Counties.
having
Scan the
them
toe.
give us
the
refer us to an
federal.
attorney. They could probably refer us to an attorney right off the bat that could,
Or they might have an
that
advisory
specializes
on
in
it.
that, yeah.
They might have an advisory.
Yeah, they might
on it.
have a legal advisor to their board that they could recommend.
Okay.
I would be comfortable with going to,
Yeah, because if we had somebody that was knowledgeable and didn't have to do any research and was very familiar with the subject,
Yeah,
then
have the
we would
answer.
pay probably at the maximum an hour.
Would the Busky group count? They might send me to the Busky.
Well,
I think we used the Besky group before, and as I recall, they said we did not need to do that, but
Okay, when somebody says that we do not need to do that, I would like them to read this paragraph that Matt just read and say, how does that not apply, or how does
Right.
this?
and hopefully the
I
person
don't
that we
wanna just-
ask is already familiar with all
I
of
don't
this.
wanna
and-
simply say, no, that doesn't count for you guys.
Right.
We can line those up at the door. I
Well,
wanna know how and why this doesn't apply and give us trouble.
Again, if this were covered by the FPPC, I don't know if it is, then you would simply write them a letter and you could get an informal opinion from them. It doesn't cost you anything. If it's covered by the Attorney General's office, I don't know whether they would give you a response or not.
Yeah, it would-
But a private counsel, unless they're dealing with these issues all the time, their opinion's gonna be as good as anybody else's.
Right, exactly.
but if you have it in writing from
If you
an
have it in
attorney,
writing, at least you,
that covers us.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, this is the stuff of city attorneys that, does Petaluma have a city attorney?
Oh, yeah, we got a dynamite one.
Well, why don't we ask the city attorney?
well, we just said
Yeah,
that
they
he
can't tell us.
he can't advise us.
They can't advise,
No.
even when this applies to them? I mean, you're.
It doesn't apply to them. And the Brown Act applies to the
Yes.
city, but in this regard, we aren't actually part of the city, we're a contractor to the city.
Except you're an employee of the city and you've been appointed to our board. That's the whole crux of the matter.
Well, I
According
then
to
make a
code.
motion that John goes to the, what is the organization?
Alliance for Community Media, I start there.
And could start there and see if we can get an advisory from them, and then make a determination following that advice.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, you got it.
Okay, we'll do, and I've got your email, and, Tim, if there's anything you wanted to add to it?
No?
No, just that.
That is
But thank you for bringing that up, Tim.
Yeah, no one in trouble that way.
Don't ever do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that?
Don't ever bring it up again, that's all. Subtle.
Okay,
Great, take 'em out.
the next item, 5,
You're gonna
discussion and possible action on formation of a board subcommittee to assist in the broadcast server purchase.
Thought we did this.
Jonathan?
No, we're ready to move into spending close to $20,000 on a new server setup for City Hall. And I need board approval for that kind of an expense, but I would also like board guidance. I was hoping Jason would be here, I guess, knew he wouldn't, but he would be a good person to help guide this purchase. NAB is coming up, which would be a good time to do it, but I'm not sure we can put together our options. What's at stake is our server electronics is not that friendly. It's also, the warranty is expiring very shortly. So we've been talking for a couple of months of looking into a server. It'd be like $5,000 to $6,000 per unit. We need 3. We could get a multiple unit, but that's more dangerous. If it goes down, we lose all 3 channels, not just one. So we're looking at an expense of about $15,000 to $20,000. All the new servers, when we were in San Jose for that Alliance meeting, there was a marketplace, and the vendors were telling us that the servers will give you streaming video capacity. That's not the problem. The problem is that the connectivity to get that to the viewers. You know, Zach was explaining to me that there are 3 lines available: a consumer line, which is what we've got right now, a DSL, $60 a month, not very high speed. You get a business line that's high speed for $190 a month, which we'd have to factor in as part of the cost of having on-demand, video on demand on our website. The server will give it to us, but we still need to get it to people. Or there's the CalNet, which is the most expensive, but maybe we could work something out. So we're looking at this kind of an expense package, $20,000 for the servers and a monthly expense rate to offer streaming view by demand. That's how you.
I think we could structure the system maybe where the server was located somewhere that had the bandwidth, and all we needed to do is download the information down to a player, and that way the server still could serve the web stream of something. You'd have direct players that are at the city hall feeding the head end, and that would maybe lower that cost significantly if you put it like the server in some place like a data center like Sonic has, and host it there.
Which is interesting because when Tim and Cindy and I went up to Santa Rosa to sit in the access station there, we met their president of the board, who is the CEO of Sonic. And he did offer a server space. Don't you remember?
CEO of Sonic.
Not CEO, but the director.
Are you talking about Vista or Sonic?
Vista.
Vista Broadband.
Scott.
Oh, I thought it was Scott. I thought it was
Scott's on that board.
Oh, excuse me.
Wrong Scott.
Cut, roll it back.
Well, you were all right, just one company.
Okay, well,
You can
we don't
edit
need
it.
to get into the detailed discussion now. What I would like to do is see if there's any members of the board who would like to work with Zach and Stephanie right now, because Stephanie's been doing a lot of the legwork. But right now, they're comparing notes and building up a proposal to see what the options are and whether we should send somebody to NAB. I don't think we have time to get board approval. We could call a special meeting if we found the right one, and NAB is gonna give us a big discount. But I think we need to think about this purchase. It's large. It's an important purchase that needs guidance.
We don't have this capacity now to do streaming video. You can't do on demand at our website.
Latronics doesn't help us. We could buy the material to do it off of Latronics, but we just
But
have to go a second.
You
step.
can't get a city council meeting or that sort of thing. Where are those kept if you wanna see a city council meeting or anything else we've filmed?
City council is on Granicus, which is a separate server base that the city manages. We have a YouTube channel where we have selected videos put on there, and you can go there and watch anything you want. And we have a weekly newsletter that comes out that tells you what new shows are coming and how to get to the website. How to get to the YouTube channel. So we've got an abridged version of on demand, limited. We actually charge $5 if a member brings us a DVD for broadcast. For an extra $5, we'll upload it for them. We have to manage the uploads because there are responsibilities and obligations to go with having a YouTube channel. If members put up something that got us in trouble, we want to be able to protect ourselves from that. Streaming on the web is different from on demand. I think on demand is more interesting. People can go there and anything that's on our server, they get a call up and watch. But we move things on and off the server, so it's not a full library of everything the PCA's ever had. It's what's in our server they could access. Now the server that would be broadcasting to Comcast, which is when Matt was saying move the servers, we still need a fiber line to Comcast for our primary signal. We've got our AT&T going out as well from there. The difference then would be taking that material that's on the server and getting it into people's computers at home. And that's where I don't have a full understanding of it. Zach gave me a brief lesson today, but obviously Jason would be very interested in this. Anybody else want to get involved or? Okay.
Just like I said, depends on timing. Plus, I am planning on going to Infocom, which is sort of a piggyback of NAB, but more presentation technology. And that's in June. I've also, been partaking in some of the discussions of what Santa Rosa was looking at doing. I don't know if they're going to do anything now.
Okay, I will plug you in with Zach, and I imagine Jason will jump on it when he gets back. So.
Does this have the potential of being something we can also sell to other people who might need the service?
We need it to broadcast our signal. We could probably keep on going with our own, but we've lost the warranty, and we're reaching a point where it could backfire on us, and then we might have to replace it real quick.
The two big points I want to just get a feeling from the board before we would meet is a lot of these systems, depending on what you look at, from the acquisition cost, have mandatory and or unmandatory support contracts. And that could be another several $1,000s a year. What would be the opinion of do we buy something that's got an ongoing support cost, but then maybe would buy us essentially a warranty against unplanned hardware failures or upgrades, or buying something that we buy once and then have optional ways of upgrading for a fee later on, or getting support after the initial warranty period expires.
Good question. Let me ask, are these just network servers or service provider servers, or what kind of servers are these?
They're just specialized video servers that play things on time demand.
Okay, so other buyers of these servers would be whom?
Television stations, community access.
stations.
It would be people that would maybe running casinos, people with digital signage.
I see. And who are the major vendors of these?
Oh, there's a whole convention just for that, and that happened last month. There's everybody and their brother has a software right now that does this. It seems like there's probably 500 vendors.
Wow.
They have different levels and that kind of stuff. And there's the major broadcast manufacturers that are doing the ABC, CBS type thing, EMC and Harris and that kind of stuff. I toured last year. I toured the facility for the Armed Forces Networks, and that's how they run their stuff. A much more expensive and sophisticated version of it. They have 65,000 hours of programming on call at any one time. but it was impressive with logistics. But you know, and the other question is, we have to figure out, which my second question is, the piggyback is, are we going to try and get AT&T to Comcast, which will to offer us HD? At this point, we would need to make that, we would need to make the purchase with that in mind.
Good question. Well, seeing how serious these questions are, it would seem that the subcommittee board that is to investigate this might come back with some recommendations at the next board meeting, because it seems like there's still some research that needs to be done on this, and comparing possibilities would be an important step.
And if we ask for HD, we might need the city to ask the franchise provider, the DIVCA providers to ask for those channel space.
But that doesn't contradict what Eric said, which I agree with. We need a subcommittee to start hammering out these questions and getting some data
Yep.
that we can weigh on.
Certainly.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Item 6 is discussion and possible action on the 2012-2013 budget.
Okay, I'll run through this quick, because we had a planning where Neil and Matt went through it with me. I won't say with a fine tooth comb, but pretty much line by line, we looked at it. We were concerned then about the payroll, which is, on this sheet, is less than we're budgeted for payroll this year, so we would actually have a reduction. Although that could modify as the new staff structure develops, people may need more hours. If we can afford it, we would do it. The things I really want to show is on page 2, annual audit, that's $9,000. And the big news, my favorite news, is page 3, line 680. Our copier lease expires in March next
Oh.
year.
March of next year.
Yay.
Yes, March 2013.
And can we just buy a multifunction machine that has no lease payments at that point?
Absolutely, that was the
I would
plan,
hope
that
so.
was the
Is
plan
this,
like
is
2
this
years
still,
ago.
is this still the same lease from Julie?
Yes, 5-year lease.
Damn.
Provide us one.
2 other numbers I would point out, because really, I think this is a document that you now have, it's been sent out. I'd love you to, any of your questions, you can feed it to me or anybody on the finance committee. Finance committee will meet again between now and the next meeting, so that we will have a final version that we can propose to be approved. So, the 2 other numbers I wanted to point out, they're odd. On page 3, line 830, taxes. I budgeted 60 and we've already spent 1,000. That's because we buy a lot of stuff online with Amazon, and usually take care of the taxes at the end of the year. It's been kind of a hassle. What Brooke is doing now is every time we make an online purchase, she's calculating the tax and putting it in there. So that's where that number's coming. When you
Right, right.
Use tax.
Yeah, I understand.
equalization. And then the final one is on the last page. You'll look at the carryover is a false number, because it's only representing 2 quarters. And quite often I will pay the insurance total up front. We paid our audit up front, that's $12,000, $15,000, which we've already paid, which is not factored into the 12 months. So that number will shrink as our expenses drop relative to the full year. As we spoke earlier about the, and this is where Matt had some points in the executive committee, Comcast and AT&T, those checks are not fluctuating up very high. So what I've done there is I really budgeted minimum, actually less than what we're getting now, 45,000 a quarter from Comcast and 7,000. We're getting a little more from each of them, but I put the budget there, so that's how I got the 208. And last but not least, I did a check on our capital expense fund. We currently have $95,970 in our capital expense fund, but I just submitted bills for reimbursements for $10,000. So let's say we have $86,000 in our capital expense. talking about a server purchase and anything that goes attached to the radio. We could be down under 50,000 by the end of the year, which is something to be concerned about because we have no replenishment built into the system. There's where I'm thinking a fundraiser would be rich. So let's build our email list, get our new members, and then hit them up next year to get us into a radio station. Thank you.
Okay, so you want us to, sit on this until, and be ready next month?
No, I want you to start studying it yourself and taking your questions, any questions or
Right, and be
concerns.
ready at the next meeting, at the April meeting, to vote on it.
Yes, that would be
Gotcha.
optimal. Good, thank you.
Okay, everybody
Thanks,
got
Jen.
that? Homework. Make sure you do homework. Okay, no action on that.
Okay.
Last item, discussion and possible action for PCA to extend an offer of support to Community Media Center of the North Bay.
Yes, you all know the story of the community media. I sent out the article. The article is sugar-coated. You know, everything is they managing fine, but it was really brutal for 2 years. They've had trouble with getting their funding straightened out. They've worked out a contract, a 1-year contract, which represents a cut in half of their operating budget. The real issue is we're immune to because Petaluma at the very beginning said, we're gonna take our 5% franchise fees and we're gonna keep it all. PCA is gonna have to figure out another way. Well, we figured out another way. In Santa Rosa, city was taking 5% and giving money back to and that's what they wanted to stop doing. It was a little more brutal than that. And that's where the cut came, because they are only getting 1% of their DIFCA, we're getting 1.24, and they were getting some out of the general fund, which has been reduced. I would love to talk over coffee, because there was some really, there was a lot of backroom dealing. They wanted to cut 4 channels down to 1, where would that profit be? The kicker is that they gave them a 1-year contract so that they can put out bids for other people to take the job, to do the public access. So the battle's not over, but I went up and had coffee with Dan on Monday, and he's very relieved. They had a pledge drive on air, raised $500, but it was a success in the sense that they got it together in less than a week, and it went on the air, and it was success. It was a good production. They didn't raise money, you need to really promote to raise money. But they were very happy with it. They had live performances, and the switching went well. When I asked them what Petaluma could do to help, I thought maybe we could have an official proclamation from the board going to the city of Santa Rosa. He said, no, that wouldn't help. The public relations would help. A letter to the editor that would help people of Santa Rosa understand how important this is. I could probably draft something. If it wants to come from the board, I could bring it back to our next meeting, and we could. I think over the next year, we have to help Santa Rosans understand how important access is, if there's any way we could help that. They have a bigger base, and I think they have less of a touch to as many people as we have. When we say we have a small membership, they have a bigger city. There's also talk that they have assets, that if we had productions that needed a mobile production truck or a studio, we could combine with them. So there are lots of ways we can help. He was very relieved to get a call, because he's been fighting with this for months, and I sympathize, man.
There, but for fortune,
Yeah.
with you.
So I would say, if you know anybody, Matt, go ahead and say it.
I would rather see that we work with Dan to help support the public opinion as they get closer to the end of their request for proposals. And that may be something like writing editorials to the paper, and maybe that the board supported or something like that.
Yeah, I think we have a year to do this, to work with them. I think the public support is important. I wouldn't think a letter to the editor right now would help.
There's too long between, I agree with Matt.
But does the board, here's my last question, does the board want to send an official board communication to the board of Santa Rosa saying we want to help?
I'm bored with you.
No? I think it'd be a nice gesture if, I mean, if we were in the,
I
Yeah.
mean, what I'm concerned
We-
about here is an organization that was more than twice as big as we were. Now it's down to about the same amount for the same function, and something that they were doing is gone. They've got staffing needs. They're gonna have to let staff go. It's a desperate situation, and we're a nice organization up here in Petaluma, getting a couple $100,000 a year from the city of Petaluma, and that looks like, wouldn't it be great to just merge the organizations or do some things and solve their problem? And what do you need two executive directors for and 2 sets of staff? And those sorts of bureaucratic things start popping into people's heads. And I think it's really important that we keep our autonomy and all of that. And I just have these vague worries of getting too wrapped up in their problem, especially when they're now, they had something that was extra. It was what sounded that it was wonderful, and I think we should help any way we can to, to write letters or whatever it is in support of that function. But I don't like this notion of potential merging or anything along those lines, and I don't want to encourage it.
Is that what you were suggesting?
no, it really wasn't a suggestion, but
Yeah.
it's a good point, and
There is something to be said about autonomy, just staying, neutral in a situation, because we're dealing, there's a city government up there, we work with a city government. We don't wanna appear antagonistic to any group that,
That's right, that's what's moving to me.
How come they didn't extend a hand to us when we were, they wanted to eat us up.
I agree with Neil completely. I really think that we can only hurt ourselves by being even a slight white horse. And, whether or not we ultimately merge or whether or not let that play out more. I know your compassion level is way up here, and I understand that. But I think in this case, write them a letter that we support them, but beyond that, this is a cutthroat world out there, and I really think we have to stand aloof.
and I think that your support personally, John, director to director is probably more important than anything we could do,
Yeah.
officially.
well, I just wanna be clear, I wasn't suggesting a merger in any sense of the way, I was
Sure.
just saying,
I understand.
he actually told me that if we wanted to, we had a production that needed that equipment, we could work out a very interesting deal.
All
And I
right.
He
think
needs the income, if he could get a budget that
Sure.
Well, and I think any equipment or skills that we have that they could use, I'd offer them the same thing. I'm not saying stay so far apart, but I'm just, in terms of 2 entities, and there's always this thing in the bureaucratic world of, well, it'll get more efficient if we centralize things, and and it isn't always more efficient. It certainly doesn't accomplish specific goals. It makes it more diffuse and.
Yeah, well, I understand that, I'm not pushing in that direction in any way, it's just compassion.
You're right. Are we asking for action, or can we just let you continue your?
Well, if you wanted me to stop, you better tell me, 'cause
No,
Well, it's not a stop, that's a little harsh. It's more of a limit what we're willing to do. We're willing to reach out a hand of physical help, from the standpoint of equipment or something, whatever, but I would say aloof.
So you take it as a feeling of caution.
Yeah, okay. You got a caution action.
Okay, and, Matt is in touch with his homologue at the Santa Rosa board, and you have access to,
Ask him.
What's a homolog?
okay, the Santa Rosa JC representative on our board, and the San Jose IT person in Santa Rosa JC is on their board. That's homologue, isn't it?
My equivalent at the Santa Rosa
Equivalent,
campus is in the
okay,
same
he's an
exact
equivalent.
position
Oh, I
as
know
the Santa
homos,
Rosa
but
board.
I know homos.
But, John, if you wanted to write up a letter to the editor, either from you or from us, I think that's okay. And, supporting the great work they've been doing in this program, and urging the city
I would be
council to
careful.
continue to fund it.
Sorry to interrupt. But I'd be careful to do that, because now that it sounds like the city of Santa Rosa is in some sort of negotiation or position to negotiate with another entity in a year, and, we don't want to appear like we're trying to influence that decision or of any sort, and so I feel like, you know, what that would help would be, I mean, we actually might create more harm than we would do helping with that sort of thing.
I guess the question is would they feel threatened that we would apply for the RFP to run the organization?
No, that never came up and never crossed my mind.
Well, I think the board is telling you to do almost nothing right now.
I get that.
Except for continue your
Except
personal
one-on-one, yeah.
contact and
One-on-one.
and informal contact, which is a wonderful way to, probably the best way to do it, so.
Yeah, what burned me was just a sense of cutthroat negotiations with no sense of gratitude for the 16 years they've contributed to that city.
That's
But
for
then
sure.
Tim, I think, knows as well, there's other levels of who's the players in this, and it's not over yet. So, I mean, anything's possible, but I appreciate your caution, and it's one less thing to do between now and so.
Good.
But I probably will write a letter to the people of Santa Rosa, letting them know that access is a very important part of their community. Even if they don't use it, they should protect it. That's all, that kind of thing. It'll be very
Okay.
general.
Great.
Okay,
From you.
okay.
From me to the people of Santa Rosa, basically, because they're the ones who are gonna have to defend their access station with their city council.
From you as the ED of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Based on my experience and
yeah.
can do.
Okay, any other business, folks?
Yeah, I still have my item that I postponed from the.
Okay,
The reason I'm doing this here is I'd like to speak to whatever members may be watching. I feel a deep debt of gratitude to them. 18 months ago, I joined this organization, I must say, sight unseen. I must say, other than watching Channel 29 as a political junkie, I had never seen anything they had done. And immediately I joined and I met the most wonderful bunch of people, dedicated to something, dedicated to an idea, and dedicated to promoting. I would like to see more participation in education channel, because I do think our students are being ripped off daily now, and it's just beginning. So I'd really like to see some sort of extra credit learning and things like that go on. But beyond that, these people are impeccable, every one of them that I met. 6 years ago, and that's the reason I'm addressing the members, they elected me, probably sight unseen, but they elected me to be a member as a director of this board. And I was honored and humbled, because I still probably was trying to find my way in what I was doing. And I was finding there were some reasons it wasn't necessarily a perfect fit, but I was a lucky man. That's gone on more months since, and regrettably I have to say this is my last meeting. I will continue to participate with PCA through the Butter and Egg Day, marching in the parade, and that will be my final thing, be a beautiful threesome up there in front. But I do want to thank everybody sitting right here. I've gotten to know some really great people. I know that my moving on is not going to change anything. I'll miss you guys a lot. I intend to stay in touch with some of you a great deal, some with different liquids, but that's okay. But it just isn't me, but it still means that this is a great channel. It means that, I'm who I am. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank again those members that elected me. That's quite an honor. As I said, it's quite a responsibility too, as I think we're finding out even in some of our discussions tonight, and being the chairman of the Butter and Egg Committee, you find out that it's not, you don't slide through. It's a hell of a lot of work, but it's a hell of a lot of reward. So I hope the members that are listening will consider replacing me. Replacing me will not be hard, but the work that you'll have will be difficult. So with that, I'll thank you for the vote, thank you for the support, and thank all of you here. In fact, I'm kind of glad how that worked out. Thank all of you here for a really wonderful 18 months. And I will miss it. If you want to try to contact AT&T as to why they're not selling enough Ubers, believe me, my 401k agrees with you. But, I'll do anything. I told Zach that I'd try to see if I could get the money for the radio station, because AT&T does do things like that. But beyond that, thank you all, and it was my pleasure.
thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Ray.
Ray.
It's been a pleasure to serve with you.
You know what, Paul?
Okay, now, do you wanna, motion to adjourn the last meeting?
Isn't that something they do? It sounds like a death wish. I have chemo tomorrow. Anyway,
Chemo cocktail.
yeah, I move to adjourn the meeting and head over to Petaluma Valley for my pre-test. And I'll think about you guys because I have 5 hours of dripping tomorrow. So I'll have some
I
time.
will think about you.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna beat that thing. I am, I promise you.
All right.
Okay, is there a
Good.
second to
Bring your
that?
charger.
I second.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, we started 5 minutes.